Grammy-winning hits like that one have kept the Dave Matthews Band at the top of the charts. With a new album, plus a high-profile tour, the band is still at it. Our Anthony Mason now with A Summer Song.
It's a strange and improbable fusion of folk, jazz, funk, and rock that's made the Dave Matthews Band one of the most popular groups of the past 2 decades.
We're still pretty strange in the whole picture. Not a lot of people sound like that. That's a good thing, too.
It's good to be strange.
Yeah, it's good to be a little strange.
42-year-old Dave Matthews is frontman, lead singer, and songwriter of the group that bears his name. A bar band born in a college town that's become one of the icons of arena rock. But after 30 million records sold and 4 #1 albums, Matthews admitted to us the band was in trouble.
There's not a lot of chain gangs that last 20 years, but I'm willing to bet that after 20 years, if you're in the same gang, tied together with a chain, you might start getting a little tight on each other.
Then last summer, just as the band was trying to regroup, saxophonist Leroy Moore died suddenly from complications from an accident in an all-terrain vehicle.
How vulnerable did you feel at that moment when he died, as a band?
Matthews, along with drummer Carter Beauford, bassist Stefan Lessard, and violinist Boyd Tinsley were on tour when it happened.
Everybody, we didn't know what to do, that day, and we had a gig in L.A., Leroy dies, and, we get there, and, we were in shock.
He was maybe my most difficult friend, because he loved and hated with such passion. But he played music just, from the first time I heard him, it just froze me.
How would you describe ultimately what his role in the band was?
I wish that I knew everything that I'm realizing he was inside the band now.
Because you miss them now?
Because I miss them, and also I wish I could have told him,
The 5 members of the Dave Matthews Band first came together nearly 20 years ago in Charlottesville, Virginia. Today, when the band returns there to play, fans make pilgrimages for the homecoming party.
This is like the Holy Land for Dave Matthews Band.
If Charlottesville is the Holy Land, then Miller's Restaurant is Mecca, the band's birthplace. The South African-born Matthews was a bartender at Miller's back in 1991, when, after secretly writing a handful of songs, he approached Moore and Beauford, who played at the restaurant.
When you asked them to listen to your stuff, were you nervous?
Yeah, I was really nervous, embarrassed, ashamed almost.
But Beauford was intrigued by what he heard.
There was just something there in the music, and Dave's music, that kept pulling me and pulling me.
They had one rehearsal, and then they came to me.
Stefan Lessard was just 16 when he joined the band.
I think my dad drove me.
Soon, they added Boyd Tinsley on violin.
Because every week we couldn't believe it. More and more people would come,
So many people that within a year, Lessard had to quit college.
I remember I put a note on the head of the jazz department's door. I'm sorry, I won't be able to go to school anymore here. I've decided to go play with the Dave Matthews Band. Thank you for everything you've done. Tacked on the door. He was furious. He was furious.
Up and down, pop his hair, fleeting texture everywhere.
By 1994, they'd cracked the pop charts. And by the end of the decade, DMB, as their fans dubbed them, were the biggest touring act in rock. A free concert in New York's Central Park in 2003 drew 120,000 people. In all, their tours have grossed more than $500 million. But by the middle of this decade, the group was losing its way. And before he died, Moore confronted Matthews.
And he said, you know, you have to lead this band or else we're not going anywhere.
So what was your reaction when he said that?
I said it's impossible to lead this group of people.
Instead, Matthews fired off a message saying he was finished.
Sent everybody a letter, which was the opposite of being a leader, and said, I can't handle it anymore.
Why?
Get out. I couldn't, it just wasn't fun, you know. At that stage, we were all not communicating, and everyone was so sort of bitter and
What were you bitter about?
Each other. It had nothing to do with success or how grateful we were for the success we had. Just that we weren't talking. You know, if you're in a relationship with people, little things become big things become little things.
What did you say in that letter?
I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was fairly final.
What did you think when you got this letter?
I thought that he had lost his mind. It's like, where's this coming from? You know, there were some turbulent times for years, actually. But that's all part of it, you know.
They talked over their differences and decided
We weren't ready to get a divorce. You know, so.
But did you think about it?
Well, you think about it, but then you remember how great it really is.
Did you come out here because it's remote?
But we really like the place. It's far away. Some people we bring out here, you know, to work with, and they're like, where the hell are we?
the band retreated to Haunted Hollow.
Freaked out by how remote it is, but
The house on 140 acres in the Charlottesville countryside that they'd converted into a studio.
we just wanted a place where we could all concentrate. So this is where we started.
Here, they began work on a new album.
The very first tracks you did, you laid down here.
Sort of, but we were rehearsing, so...
Leroy Moore was in on those early improvisational sessions. The album was still developing when he died.
Being in the studio now, you know, it's like that booth behind me, you know, he wasn't there. And it was tough, you know. I mean, I had probably the biggest breakdown that I ever had about this.
Matthews, now married with 3 kids, was already familiar with unexpected death. He was 10 when he lost his father to cancer. His oldest sister, Ann, died suddenly 15 years ago.
How did that affect how you dealt with this?
I don't know if I've dealt with my father's death, and I should probably talk to an analyst, or my sister's death properly.
But you've never been afraid of writing about it.
I do write about death a lot. I don't like to overuse that whole seize the day thing. But I think, you know, the fact that we're going to die is a pretty good reason to stop complaining.
When my story ends, it's gonna end with him. Heaven or hell, I'm going there with the Blue Brooks King. Why?
4 years after their last studio album, the band will release Big Whiskey and the Gru Brux King this week. Gru Brux was Moore's nickname. Matthews himself drew the album cover and made sure the record opened with a solo by their friend.
It's really awesome. Peace. I'll play it.
So this is Leroy, and it was recorded right here?
Yeah, all this was recorded, all the music.
Somewhere in the recording of the album, the Dave Matthews Band rediscovered what brought them together.
You feel like you're starting all over again in a way?
I do. I also feel like we've grown up a lot. We've matured. And it took something like that for us to see the light.
I get the sense this record is very important to you.
Yeah, I think it's our clearest statement of what this band can be.